Okay, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. A remote control for our very own cancer-killing cells. Just think about that for a second. A cancer therapy that's so powerful, so good at its job, that the main problem isn't making it work, it's figuring out how to shut it off. That's the wild story we're unpacking right now. So, to really get what's going on here, we first have to talk about the revolutionary treatment at the heart of it all, CAR T-cell therapy. Some people even call it cancer's living drug. So what is it exactly? Well, the term living drug is actually a pretty great description. Scientists take a patient's own immune cells, their T cells, and basically give them a super soldier upgrade. They engineer these cells with special receptors, chimeric antigen receptors, or CARs for short, which act like these incredibly precise GPS systems. Their one and only mission: hunt down and obliterate cancer cells. And this isn't some far-off idea. It has already completely changed the game for treating blood cancers. But, with that kind of power comes some pretty big problems. This living drug is so incredibly effective that its own strength is what creates the very high-stakes issues we've got to look at now. And here you can really see the two sides of this coin. On one side, you've got this incredible promise. It's been a total revolution for blood cancers. But on the other side, there's real peril. It can cause them severe and sometimes even lethal side effects. Plus, it just hasn't worked well against solid tumors, and that's, most types of cancer. All right, let's break down these hurdles because they're pretty serious. First up, you've got something called on-target off-tumor toxicity. It's a mouthful, but it basically means the supercharged T cells sometimes get confused and attack healthy tissues, not just cancer. Then there's cytokine release syndrome, which is this massive, system-wide overreaction of the immune system that can be really dangerous. And finally, the T cells themselves can just get burned out. They're always on, and that constant simulation leads to what's called T-cell exhaustion. So yeah, these are the big roadblocks that researchers are trying to figure out how to get around. But what if you could actually control them? What if you had an off switch? Well, that's exactly what researchers at Ludwig-Luzon and EPFL have been working on, and they call it drop CAR technology. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Melita Irving, just puts it perfectly. She calls their breakthrough a remote control. A simple way to dial down the CAR T-cell activity. And here's the kicker. They do it using a cancer drug that's already in clinical use. That last part, that is a huge, huge deal. Okay, so how does this remote actually work? Well, the system is incredibly elegant, and it all happens down at the molecular level. So the technology is called drop CAR. And the really clever part, the key innovation, is that the receptor on the T cell, the part that finds the cancer, it isn't just one solid piece. It's actually made of two separate parts on the outside of the cell. And because they can come apart, they can be controlled. They're held together by this really strong protein bond, but, and this is the most important part, that bond is reversible. All right, let's walk through this cycle. It's really cool. First, these two specific protein domains on the T-cell surface find each other and snap together, creating the complete functional CAR. Step 2, the now assembled CAR T-cell does its thing. It finds and attacks a cancer cell. But then, step 3, a doctor can give the patient an approved drug called venetoclax. What does it do? It gets in there and breaks that protein bond. So step 4, the CAR basically falls apart, the T-cell lets go, and the attack is paused. And here's the magic step 5, when the drug wears off, those protein domains just reconnect. The CAR reassembles itself, and the T-cell goes right back to hunting cancer. It's an on-demand system. Having this level of control, this could really be the start of a whole new era of safer, smarter immunotherapy. So what does this actually mean for the future of fighting cancer? The advantages here are just massive. You get reversible control, a literal on-off switch. It's safer because the switch happens on the outside of the cell, right where the action is. It also preserves the T cells. It doesn't kill them, so they can be used again and again. Plus, it's all made from human proteins, which really lowers the risk of the body rejecting it. And the big one, the remote-control drug, venetoclax, is already approved and in use. That's a huge head start. And hey, remember that whole T-cell exhaustion problem we talked about? Well, this could be the answer. By being able to pause the attack, you can literally give these engineered cells rest periods. Let them recover, recharge, and stay effective for way, way longer. Another researcher on the team, Giordano Attianesi, summed it up so well. This switch gives you control without having to sacrifice the cells. Think about it. You're preserving your army for the next battle, not just sending them on a one-way, all-or-nothing mission. That is a fundamental shift in how we think about this therapy. You know, what makes this so incredibly exciting right now is just how fast it could potentially reach patients. Because the control drug is already approved, doctors already know how to use it. That means the whole drop care system has a much, much shorter path to clinical trials. It's a huge shortcut compared to developing a brand new therapy and a brand new drug from scratch. So all of this brings us back to the biggest question of all. We started by saying that this kind of therapy has really struggled against solid tumors, most cancers. Could this simple, really elegant off switch be the key? Could this be what finally unlocks the full potential of immunotherapy, making it safe and effective enough for almost everyone?